Tonight, members of the motion picture and television community have gathered for the presentation of the American Film Institute Life Achievement Award, the highest honor for a career in film.
Bless you.
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the 16th Annual Life Achievement Award, Mr. Jack Lemmon. From the Beverly Hilton Hotel, the 16th Annual American Film Institute Life Achievement Award, a salute to Jack Lemmon. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Julie Andrews.
Jack Lemmon was born in an elevator. His mother, it seems, was in possession of a particularly promising bridge hand at the time she went into labor and was absolutely determined to play it out. So John Euler Lemmon III made his first entrance between the 5th and 6th floors of Boston's Wellesley Newton Hospital. He tends to do things like that. At the age of 4, he made his next big entrance in an amateur production of There's Gold in Them Thar Hills, uttering the immortal line, "Hark, I hear a pistol shot." From that moment, Jack knew he was an actor. At Harvard, he wrote a musical review with a song entitled, "The Bottom's Fallen Out of Everything But You." He almost flunked out of that esteemed university, but graduated by the skin of his teeth. And he moved to New York, where he tried to save rent money by sleeping in an abandoned building. It was destroyed by a wrecking ball the next morning. He was fired from his position as a restaurant quality checker for rating everyone as excellent. And he got his first television audition by claiming to be a member of Dublin's famed Abbey Players. The producer told him he'd seen a performance of his the week before, and he was about as Irish as Eddie Cantor. How on earth he ever got here tonight, I will never know. Or rather, I do, because I've watched him on film, and I've known him as a friend, and I've been fortunate enough to work with him. The film was That's Life, and it was the product of what can truly be called a family affair. I played Jack's wife. It was directed by my husband, shot in our house, and featured our daughters playing Jack's and my daughters, Jack's son playing our son, and Felicia Farr, who also happens to be Jack's real wife, in the role of a local fortune teller. Now, since this wasn't quite confusing enough, Blake decided that the whole film should be improvised as we went along. I remember showing up on the set, which meant walking downstairs to our living room, for our first day shooting, and I thought, oh, what a lark this is all going to be. We worked all morning getting things ready, tossing things in and out, and trying this and that, and questioning and tormenting over every detail, and then finally it was time. The cameras rolled, and suddenly there he was, Jack Lemmon. He walked through the door and began to speak. He kissed me hello and talked. He sat at the piano and talked. He moved up the stairs and talked. He changed his clothes and talked, and all the while I kept thinking, oh dear God, don't let him stop talking, because then it will be my turn. And happily, he never did. Jack is a consummate professional and a brilliant performer, and I am so glad that he's being recognized tonight. Jack Lemmon spent the first few years of his career learning and developing his craft in any venue he could possibly find. He appeared both off and on Broadway, on radio, and in over 400 live television programs. He was the host of Tony Twin Time, inviting the viewers to guess which twin has the Tony. And then came the films. From his first moment on screen in a short feature produced by one of the most revered and influential organizations in this country, it was clear that Jack Lemmon was destined for greatness.
Bartender, double rye, please.
Now with another woman, I'll fix his wagon.
Even Mike can see that this girl means trouble.
And now, heaven for Betsy. It's after dinner as we join the Bells, and Pete has just been struck by a thought.
I must say, you really know how to show a guy a good time, Maestro, when you take him out. You can kiss me if you want to. No more. I don't want you to get the wrong impression. Thanks again for a lovely evening. Bye-bye.
I know, maybe you're the one that's...
Just once. Every so often, something really gets my goat, and this is one. To think I actually know a grown-up, civilized woman who can take a hard-earned cash that might do some good for her or somebody, just take it and throw it away on a nonsense, as though it were garbage.
You hear me ask you what you do with your money?
Oh, don't bother. I haven't even got any.
All I did is happen to meet you in the park by accident. So I don't see where that gives you the right to tell me off.
Correct.
And furthermore, different people do different things that may seem crazy to other different people. That doesn't make it.
Correct.
And furthermore, do me a favor and butt out.
Oh, would you please do me a favor?
Like what?
Do you remember my name?
Sure.
What?
Pete Shepard.
Well, do me a favor and forget it. Oh. So is it still on for Friday lunch?
Certainly.
Thank you very much.
Don't mention it.
Who's that? Who's that officer? You boy! Yes, you. Come here. Are you one of my officers?
Yes, sir.
What's your name again?
Ensign Pulver, sir.
Well, I'm glad to see there's someone aboard this vessel knows how to salute. Pulver. How is it I don't see you around much, Pulver?
Often wondered the same thing myself, sir.
What's your job, Pulver?
Officer in charge of laundry and morale, sir.
How long have you been aboard, Pulver?
$14 months, sir.
14 months? Oh, spend most of your time in the laundry, huh?
Well, yes, sir. Most of the time. Yes, sir.
Well, you do a very good job, Pulver.
Thank you, sir.
Except for one thing.
Sir?
I don't like starch in my pajamas. You'll watch out for that, won't you, Pulver?
Oh, yes, sir.
Fine. Well, you're doing very good work, Pulver. Yeah, you must come to my cabin sometime and have dinner.
I'm going to disappear here for a while and turn the stage over to someone who so far has been a bit luckier than I. He's gotten to work 6 times with Jack, and when asked to describe him, Jack once said, he is difficult, impossible, infuriating, or in other words, the best actor I have ever worked with. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Walter Matthau.
A man walks into the Carnegie Delicatessen. He turns to the waiter and he says, "Can I have a fried shrimp sandwich and a chocolate frap?" Just want you to know the kind of man we're dealing with tonight. Anyway, we were 3 weeks into the making of The Fortune Cookie when I said to Jack Lemmon, "Why are you doing this movie? I have the best part." He looked at me for a second and he said, "Don't you think it's about time?" 4 years later, Lemmon and I were driving to Sedona, Arizona, to see our respective sons at the Verde Valley High School. We stopped at a gas station for some soda pop and some sandwiches. There was an old Indian taking care of the place, and he went about his business with a rather dour look. So I said to him, pointing at Lemmon, I said, "You know that man? He's a famous movie star." The old Indian smiled, and he said, "You guys don't fool me. You're the odd couple." Ten minutes later, back in the car, Jack said, "He must have seen the movie." That's what I like about Lemmon. He's funny. I worked with Lemmon on 6 different projects. He's always pleasant, courteous, funny, and decent. He's the same way when he's not working. Must be something wrong with the man. That's why, you see, Jack Lemmon's my best friend. Knowing him has been a blessing both to me and my family. I figured my knowing him so well was the reason he always seemed so familiar up there on the screen. It's not. It's just what he does. He allows us to see the tragedy and the comedy of the world through the eyes of someone we know. Someone he hints we may even be. Because in the words of the poet and philosopher Billy Wilder, most actors can show you one or two things and they've emptied their shelves. Jack Lemmon is Macy's and Tiffany's and Sears Roebuck, catalog and all.
Daphne! Sugar! I want to thank you for covering up for me. You're a real pal.
Oh, it's nothing. I just thought that us girls should stick together.
If it wasn't for you, they would have kicked me off the train. I'd be out in the middle of nowhere, sitting on my ukulele.
Oh, it's freezing outside. I mean, when I think about you and your poor ukulele.
If there's ever anything I can do for you,
I can think of a million things. That's one of them.
What's the matter now?
No, I got this, my ears are filling up. I got this sinus condition. It's a change in temperature. I always get it from air conditioning.
Well, maybe it'll go away.
No, it's all part of my allergies. I get them in the summer.
Only in the summer?
And in the winter, too. I get them all year long. Allergic to foods. And pillows and curtains and perfumes. Can you imagine that? Allergic to perfumes? That used to drive Frances crazy. For a while, she couldn't wear anything except my aftershave lotion. I was impossible to live with.
Stop that, will you? What are you doing?
I'm trying to clear up my ears. You create a pressure inside your head. It opens up the eustachian tube.
Did it open up?
Uh-huh. I think I strained my throat.
All right, Miss Kubelik, get up. Past checking out time. The management would appreciate it if you get the hell out of here. I used to like you. I used to like you a lot. Well, it's all over between us, so beat it. O-U-T out! Come on, wake up. My God. Miss Kubelik? Miss Kubelik?
I broke a nail trying to get the tray out. You want to buy yourself a new refrigerator. I didn't mean right now.
Dr. Drive. Doc! There's a girl in my place who took some sleeping pills. You better come quick. I can't wake her up. Let me get my bag. Hurry up.
Hey, over here, lover. What's all the running around about? You're gonna wear yourself out. That's rough, honey.
Good night.
Good night.
Party's over.
What's the matter? Did I do something wrong?
It's an emergency. I'll see you some other time. Not this one. In there, Doc.
What's going on here anyway?
Nothing. Will you please just get out?
My shoes. Some lover you are. Some sex pot.
Here, find a phone booth and call your husband in Havana.
You bet I will. And when I tell him how you treated me, he'll push your face in. Your face!
Get a little rabbit skin to wrap his baby bunting
To wrap his baby bunting in. Huh?
She's almost asleep.
Huh?
Wake her up.
What's she doing up at this time of night?
She was hungry.
Well, she's got to learn sooner or later some of Mommy's time belongs to Daddy. I think it's Daddy's time of night. Wow.
Honey, just try to keep your voice down.
What's the matter? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I've been working since 10 a.m. I come home and I get shushed. What is that?
You've been working your elbow more than anything else, haven't
Oh, I
you?
got to drink with these people. I told you that's part of the job.
Oh, I thought your job was to advise them. See, they have confidence.
If Balfoy wants me to drink with him, what am I going to do about it?
Well, if he has confidence in you.
Confidence? Yeah, he has confidence that I'll do what I'm told, regardless. Confidence. He has confidence, I think, that to keep my job as the mayor of San Francisco to give a ticker tape parade for his chicken fat. What had happened? Well, now look. Come home, enter a couple of drinks, and you're cold sober. Well, maybe you're a little tired. So I know I seem loud and... All right, I am. You didn't used to think so. I feel your disapproval. I feel it. Well, look, if you want to sit up and you want to wait for me, well, then, is there any law that says you can't have a couple of blasts while you're waiting? Huh? Is there? So that maybe we could have some laughs around here? Is there? Huh?
Joe, I'm not supposed to on account
I
of
know, your
milk.
milk. Yeah, well, what is that bit anyhow? It's the 20th century. They invented milk bottles, and they got milk in cans that's as good as that milk. You're gonna ruin your shape. See, it's just, for crying out loud, you think you were the only woman that ever had a baby? Well, I was dragged around by the scruff of my neck on midnight trains and in freezing weather, and I was eating crackers and peanut. Don't do that. I was eating peanut butter. Now, kids have got to learn to be people. Don't, look, please, just get her a bottle and some formula because I want to have a ball. Just you and me, see? All right, don't shush me. And if I'm too loud, then I'll just close the damn door.
Joe, please, just stop it.
At that age, caring about tempers.
In 1959, Jack began shooting a picture for a writer-director he had never worked with before. The first few weeks, Jack would come home from the studio, and Felicia would ask what he thought of his new collaborator. And Jack's nightly reply was, I guess he's okay. She's never let him forget that one. Over the next 30 years, Jack made a total of 7 films with that collaborator. He's one of our most treasured filmmakers and the recipient of the AFI's 1986 Life Achievement Award. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Billy Wilder.
Now, let me say this about Mr. Lemmon. I think that the guy can play Charlie's Aunt in the afternoon, he can play King Lear at night, and in between he can give a piano concerto, which is terrific. And with all of that, he has remained a wonderful, wonderful, lovely, kind, obedient actor. Let me tell you about Lemmon. His way of working. He would arrive in the morning about half an hour before I came on the lot. and he would be half made up, and he would run after me and said, Bill, I ran the lines with Felicia, and I've got a terrific idea. You know, that scene, you know, instead of coming to the door, I will come to the window. And instead of wearing pants, I will wear shorts. And I look at him like this, and he says, I don't like it either. And that was it. I am absolutely thrilled that you get this. You richly deserve it. You are about as good as anybody. No, I should not say that. You know, I learned one thing at the very beginnings of my career as a director. Once in an interview, like an idiot, I said, I think Barbara Stanwyck is the greatest actress I ever worked with. And a year later, I had a script, and I sent it to Joan, what's her name, Crawford. Sent it to Joan Crawford, and I don't hear anything for a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. Finally, I call her and said, did you get the script? Yes. Did you read it? She says, no. He said, well, it's a wonderful role. Why don't you give it to Stanwyck? So let me just say this about Jack Lemmon. He's one of the 2 best actors I ever worked with. Thank you.
In the early 1950s, everybody was talking about the new leading man. Whether his name was Marlon Brando, Montgomery Clift, or James Dean, he was said to bring a new type of realism to the screen. And his dark and brooding sexuality was making women sit up and swoon and all those sorts of things all over the world. And then there was Jack Lemmon. The posters for his first film simply heralded him with the rather modest phrase, introducing Jack Lemmon, a guy you're gonna like. What they never told us, but what we found out for ourselves in film after film, was he was also a guy that you could fall in love with.
We're gonna have a long talk in a few days, Gladys. In fact, several long talks. In fact, we may end up talking. What do you think?
Why not now?
Because this is important, and I've got to wait until I'm sure that your ears and eyes and your everything are just a little more ready to, well, let's fall in love. Now, why shouldn't we fall in love?
Hi, Jerry. Everything under control?
Have I got things to tell you?
What happened?
I'm engaged.
Congratulations. Who's the lucky girl?
I am.
What?
Osgood proposed to me. We're planning a June wedding.
What are you talking about? You can't marry Osgood.
You think he's too old for me?
Jerry, you can't be serious.
Why not? He keeps marrying girls all the time.
But you're not a girl, you're a guy. And why would a guy want to marry a guy?
Security.
You really are shy, aren't you?
Me? Shy? Not particularly. It's just the kind of world we live in. What I mean is, if you hate somebody, you can do that any time, any place. But like somebody, gotta hide in dark corners.
You know, I'm sort of glad about that girl in Dijon with the cough.
You are?
Because frankly, in the police van, I thought that you'd never in your life,
Oh, she wasn't the only girl. I've had more than one girl.
How many?
Altogether? Let me see.
3?
Not as many as that,
I like the gal to my left. I like the girl to my right. She'd be fine in the morning. She'd be great at night. But put 'em all together, it add up to another. So for my last wish, little genie, I want a girl like mother.
Darling, know what I want you to do for me tonight? Gargle with some warm water and salt.
No, dude, I know what I'm talking about. That works. My God, we're going on our second honeymoon. I don't want you getting sick on me.
Let's fall in love.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Shirley MacLaine.
That scene in the montage just then was from the second picture that I did with Billy and Jack called Irma la Douce. It was about the 12th picture of my fallen woman cycle. You may have noticed also in that little montage that there never was a single shot of Jack and me kissing. And that's because we never did. We never had one single traditional love scene together. I think the most romantic thing I ever said to him was, "Shut up and deal," which was that scene. Well, it's funny because we were thought of as a screen couple, and we were, but somehow there was a different kind of chemistry between us. It just, I don't know, I never understood it. Jack was more like a relative. Not an uncle, not a brother. I had one of those. I couldn't figure it out. And then when I saw him in Some Like It Hot, I realized that he was exactly like my great Aunt Bertie. She and I, well, she had this little duck walk, just like Jack, and her head wobbled. And she had the most incredible twinkle in her eyes, and then she would well up with tears at the slightest sort of emotion. Well, we would sit for hours and hours and talk about the mysteries of the world. I could trust my Aunt Bertie completely, and I could depend on her completely, which is what it's been like with Jack. I was thinking of what I could say seriously to paint what it's like to work with a man who is so comfortable with that part of himself that he can be sensitive, compassionate, and have the courage and strength to surrender. I love you. Now, Jack wasn't always sure he wanted to be an actor. There was a time when he toyed with the idea of becoming the next Gershwin. Fortunately, nobody would give him a job doing that. But since this is your night, and since this is your favorite Gershwin song, and since there happens to be a piano on the stage tonight, this is for you. From old Gershwin and me, and my accompanist, who happens to be a kid that you gave his very first start to, Mr. Chris Lemmon. How much the many millions of Annabelles and Lillians would do to capture you. But we made the apartment, and oh, my throbbing heart meant I'm hooked. My goose is cooked. You're no big and brave and brawny Romeo. Why this feeling I shall never, never know. Don't mean to sound too flirty, but as my dear Aunt Bertie might state, I think you're great. I've got a crush on you, but don't we all? Is it any wonder that we all fall? You're charming, talented, witty, and in addition,
you're kind of pretty. Could it be, weren't we lovers back in 1643? Forgive me if I should blush, but I've still got a crush, my baby, on you. So when all's said and done, Jack, you've got the lot wrapped up in one. The world will pardon our mush, but we've all got a crush, my baby, on you.
There are many friends and admirers of Jack Lemmon in the room tonight. First among them is chairman of the American Film Institute, Benita Granville Rather.
Jack, we would like to give you this pledge. The American Film Institute and the National Center for Film and Video Preservation are dedicated to preserving your films so that other generations can enjoy them as we have. And so, on behalf of the trustees and the 100,000 members of the American Film Institute, we salute you.
An actor who first touched our hearts as a child, he's been a friend of Jack's since 1947, Mr. Roddy McDowell.
Jack, the summer I was 17, I was touring in a play called Young Woodley. It was about life in English boarding schools. The North Shore Playhouse, Beverly, Massachusetts. Yes, I can remember my mother, who unofficially ran everything. And as young actor after young actor came out onto the stage to read for the smaller roles of my classmates, and she would holler out in the theater, "No, that boy does not sound British." Well, finally, a young assistant carpenter named Jack Lemmon came out from the wings, picked up the script, deftly executed 2 or 3 lines, and my mother stood up and cried, "Thank God for a genuine English boy."
She co-starred with Jack in My Sister Eileen. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Janet Leigh.
What I remember most, Jack, is the first day you and Tony put on the outfits for Some Like It Hot. And you were sure that you were not going to pull it off. So we walked around the lot to test it out. No one paid any attention, and you began to feel a little more comfortable with the whole thing. Along the way somewhere, someone whistled at me, and I turned around to see who it was, and there was a large stagehand standing there, and I sort of smiled. He wasn't looking at me. You've never let me forget that either. Congratulations, Jack. You're a beautiful man. And woman.
Our next speaker first met Jack on the Columbia lot in 1953. He went on to make 6 more films with him, including Days of Wine and Roses, The Great Race, and That's Life. Mr. Blake Edwards.
It's seldom that any of us can make the ultimate sacrifice that will prove without a doubt how much we really care for someone professionally and personally. Well, Euler, I'm here, I'm wearing a tuxedo, and I'm making a speech. Some time ago, a reporter asked me if I could only work with one actor for the rest of my career, who would that be? And I answered without hesitation, Jack Lemmon or Flipper. And I truly meant it.
An actor who appeared as Jack's son in the 1986 Broadway revival of Long Day's Journey into Night. And recently he co-starred with him in the television miniseries The Murder of Mary Fagan, Mr. Kevin Spacey.
You know, when you get a chance to work with somebody like Jack every night on stage for over a year, you begin to observe a lot of things about him. And one of the things I observed about Jack that I admired the most is that he has the ability to talk faster than any human I have ever known. Jack had a line in Long Day's Journey where he came out in a very serious moment in the play. He looked at Peter Gallagher, who played Edmund, he looked at me, and he said, "There's a gloom in the air you could cut with a knife." Now, Jack said this line perfectly for over 100 performances, just the way Eugene O'Neill had written it. And one night in London, Jack walked out on stage, he looked at Peter Gallagher, he looked at me, and he said, "There's a doom in this room you could shake with a stick." We got backstage, we said, "Jack, did you hear what you said out there?" He said, "What?" I said, "What's your first line?" He said, there's a gloom in the air you could cut with a knife." I said, "That's not what you said. You said there's a doom in the room you could shake with a stick." He said, "I did not." I said, "You did too." He said, "I did not." Anyway, it's the same thing. O'Neill and I were like this. I salute you, Jack, not just for your inventiveness, but for teaching me as a young actor that generosity is really what makes you survive, and I thank you for that.
He wrote Jack's first film, It Should Happen to You, Mr. Garson Kanan.
Jack, you remember once Joey Brown said to you, "Nobody's perfect." Well, he was wrong.
The very gifted author of The Odd Couple, The Out-of-Towners, The Prisoner of Second Avenue, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Neil Simon.
I can't remember my own lines, Jack. I have no idea how actors do it. The reason writers and directors love with Jack Lemmon is that he plays with more conviction than any other actor I've ever seen. He never screams for a laugh or even our attention. Jack always shouts for sanity, reason, and justice. As a prisoner of Second Avenue, after losing his job, his life savings, and his dignity, his wife, Edna, suggests they take a walk to the zoo. And Jack looks at her with his pupils now somewhere around his right ear and says, "I am not going to the zoo. I've been there every day for a month. When I walk by, the monkeys nudge each other and say, 'He's here again.'" You don't mess with Jack Lemmon when he's in this mood. One wonders where such a gentle, sweet, and loving nature that Jack possesses finds the torrent of madness and terrifying fury that still makes us understand, sympathize, and love the character. I know where. You're just one hell of an actor, Jack. Thank you.
Mr. Steve Martin.
Thank you. I suppose of all the people in this room tonight, I'm the one who's closest to Jack Lemmon. As I was looking over his list of films, I realized how different that list would read if it weren't for me. The year was 1959. I was dining alone at Chasen's. And I looked over, and I saw Billy Wilder, Jack Lemmon, and Tony Curtis coming toward me. And I thought, oh, God, not these guys again. I made a little small talk, and I said, Jack, what are you working on? What are you doing? And he said, well, I got a thing coming up I'm very, very excited about with Lee Remick. I said, what's the title? He said, The Days of Wine and Roses and Tapioca Pudding. And I said, what was the title? He said, The Days of Wine and Roses and Tapioca Pudding. It's about a couple of people, they get sloshed every night, they make tapioca pudding, they go nuts, and when the new mix come out, they can't decide whether to go with the mix or make it fresh. It's very exciting. And I said, just off the top of my head, I would say, lose the tapioca pudding. And he said, Steve, you can't have a movie called The Days of Wine and Roses and Tapioca Pudding and have the audience come in and then there's nothing about tapioca pudding. And I said, this is my point. You should drop it from the title, too. And he said, you mean call it The Days of Wine and Roses? He said, it doesn't scan, Steve. It's just not right. The Days of Wine and Roses, and you've got to have the tapioca pudding in there. And I said, well, just think about it. I look over and I see Billy's going like this. So I said, what are you working on now? And he said, oh, we've got a great thing. We're just producing. Tony and Jack and Billy and I, we're just producing this thing. We're looking for two funny actresses. We wondered if you had any ideas. It's about two actors, two musicians who get stuck, have to hide out in an all-girl orchestra. And if you have any ideas, we're thinking of Lucy, we're thinking of Shirley, and we think it's going to be a great thing. And they left. And as I watched Jack walk away, something occurred to me that may have changed his life forever. And I called Billy the next day and I ran it by him and he liked it. As he was walking away, I realized Jack Lemmon has a great ass. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Douglas.
Now, in 1977, I was developing a screenplay called The China Syndrome. It was about nuclear power, which was not a very popular subject matter at the time, but there was a very key role of a company executive who suddenly found himself fighting a system that he once was a part of. And I brought the script to Jack, and Jack agreed to do the role. Well, I was all excited, and I'm telling you, like every 4 weeks, we're almost at Jack, we're ready to go. He was getting offers for films, for other pictures, and he constantly waited, and he said, don't worry, I'm here. Don't worry, I'm here. He was there. So I would like, as the producer of that film tonight, to publicly thank you, because that picture never would have been made without your support. And as an actor, the incredible thing I remember was whether it was a walk-on, a walk-through scene that somebody was asking Jack to do, or it was the biggest scene of the picture on the China Syndrome. He had his little cup of coffee. You put the coffee down, and you always whispered something. You always whispered something. And just watching your back, something happened. And you made it look so easy, and then all of a sudden it exploded. And I was really curious what it was that he was talking about. I kept kind of inching and inching in, and so I think he thought I was getting in his close-ups, I said, what does this guy, want? But I couldn't figure it out. And it was magic time. I'll never forget it, magic time, magic time. And this incredible metamorphosis used to come over. You put that cup down, and quietly say those words, and it was magic. And so I was thinking, Jack, you have at least 6 great movies that never would have been made if you hadn't believed in them. And the other half of it is that none of them would ever have been as good if it wasn't with your magic. Thank you.
I'm speaking to you from the inside of the control room of the Ventana nuclear power plant. With me is Mr. Jack Goodell, who has taken control of this plant by force and has demanded to make a statement. Mr. Goodell?
I'm a ship supervisor here. I have been here since before it ever opened. I want you to know one thing. I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm not going to try to contaminate the state of California. I just want you to Monday last, at 3:36 p.m., we had an event happen. We had an accident. Okay, happened here. Jeez. Now, nobody was hurt. It was more serious than you were ever led to believe. It was human error. You see, what happened was that a faulty relay in the generator circuit caused the generator breakers to trip open. I know it sounds ridiculous. That relay, that's like a $10 or a $12 item, but it protects the generator. On top of that, this could happen. See, that's the reactor water level. Well, in the water level, there is a pen, and the pen stuck. Also, because of the stuck pen, you see, we got the wrong reading. We tried to keep additional feed water from entering the system. In actuality, that water level was dangerously low. Well, with the main steam line isolated, we only had one auxiliary feed pump to get more water back into that core. But that's not... I mean, come on, that happened, but that's not why I'm here. It's not making any sense.
No, it's all right.
It's so complex. There's something else. See, it's...
We got it. All right, DeYoung, you give us the word, we'll cut the circuit.
Okay. It's so complex. It's simple. Simple.
We're ready to begin the scram procedure.
It's terribly complex, and it's very difficult. I mean, that happened, but that's not why I'm... Vibration. The vibration was not normal. There was a vibration. And nobody will... I know the vibration was not normal. I know the plant.
Dave, you okay?
Oh, no.
Jack.
No.
Oh, no. Oh, my God!
Cut him off.
We're losing picture. Come on.
What happened?
No. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Why? You idiot! You idiot!
Ladies and gentlemen. Lights flashing that I think... Nothing?
I'm nuts in there.
We've lost our picture from the Ventana nuclear plant.
Is there no sound?
Oh, please, God. Oh, please.
Mr. Ambassador, good morning. Have a seat, please. What happened? Just have a seat, please.
Yes, what happened, sir?
Did you find him?
What? Oh, no, not that at all. I'm sorry.
Well, what is it then?
I hear you'd like to discuss some political questions.
What?
You suggested that there might be some kind of American police assistance program down here. I'd like you to know that nothing of that sort exists in this country.
Mr. Ambassador, I'm not interested in the politics of it. I brought it up only because I want you to use every resource at your command.
I repeat, Mr. Horman, no such operation exists.
I got the clearance for those hospitals you wanted to visit.
What about the National Stadium?
I'm trying, but it's kind of touchy.
Handle it.
What do you mean it's touchy? Look, gentlemen, I know these are bad times. It's not fun for you people. It's certainly not fun for Beth or me or Charles. I know you're doing your best. I have to believe that. That's our only hope. But you have all the machinery on your side. Don't you see? You have all the connections. I'm a middle-aged businessman from New York City. I don't speak one word of Spanish. Here I am. My son may have been shot. Maybe he was tortured. Maybe he was, oh, Lord, beaten so badly that they're keeping him until he's well enough to be released. I don't know. I don't care. Oh, really, I don't care. Because what is done is done. I just want you to reach those people and tell them I will take Charles back in any condition. I'm not going to make a stink. I'm not going to go to the newspapers. You make out any kind of a release form, I will sign it. I will absolve anyone, everyone of everything. I just want my boy back. He's the only child I have.
Ladies and gentlemen, the founding director and current co-chairman of the American Film Institute, George Stevens, Jr.
16 years ago, the trustees of the American Film Institute, wishing to recognize lasting quality in the art of motion pictures and television, established this Life Achievement Award. Tonight, the Life Achievement Award takes on a new dimension. Its recipient is, for the first time, not only a colleague, but a protege of a number of our most distinguished past recipients: John Ford, James Cagney, Henry Fonda, Jimmy Stewart, and Billy Wilder. So now the Life Achievement Award is not simply about artistic accomplishment. It is, like the American Film Institute, about continuity. A man influenced by the standards and values of previous recipients has himself created a body of work that meets that sternest test of creativity, the test of time. Jack Lemmon has played comedy with uncommon verve, drama with great distinction, and always underlying his presence on the screen is a decency and humanity that caused audiences the world over to take him to their hearts. By looking at his face, we have always known what is in his heart.
Like most people everywhere, I'm not a millionaire. But what'll shock the Western world is I don't even care. And it's the only way to go. And it's the only dream I know. I'm contented just to be uncomplicated me. So don't dig any deeper, what you get is what you see. And I'm the only man you'll find who likes nothing on his mind. 3 cheers, hand me a beer. Why, thank you. Watch my dreams become real. Contented just to be uncomplicated me. So don't dig any deeper, what you get is what you see. And I'm the only man you'll find who likes nothing on his mind. The only way to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Lemmon.
I had a terrible thought about 10 minutes ago. George told me the other day, I asked him how many films they had chosen clips from. And George said he thought it was 24. I thought about it. I've done 44 films. If George had used the other 20, I could be up here speaking to no one. In thinking back over my career to date, one thing struck me that I hadn't thought about for years, and that is the remarkable coincidence of things that happened that had absolutely nothing to do with me, my ability, or lack of it, or anything else. They just happened. Crazy, wild things. But if they had not happened, I might not have had a career.
From the time I was 8 or 9 years old, all I had wanted to be was an actor. And I acted in school plays. I acted at the drop of a hat. I'd act between classes. I'd go 20 minutes on Hello. I figured I was destined to save the American theater. There was no question about that. And a few years later, I got out of college, went down to New York. For some reason, they would not let me do that. I don't know why. But something was going on that I had no idea about, never thought about, and that was live TV. And oh, God, that was glorious. It was the most fertile, wonderful, burgeoning training ground for young actors. It will never happen again the way it was then, unless we come up with a whole new medium. And there were several reasons why. For one thing, nobody knew what would work, so there were no limitations. Nobody worried about trying anything. You could do comedies one week, dramas, everything but musicals, because those were too expensive. That could cost $100 maybe. And once you got a foot in a door, and you got a couple of parts under your belt, you could get more parts. You could damn near make a living. And it was terrific. You got wonderful experience. I worked with directors before we knew how great they were, and they didn't know it either, like Frank Schaffner and Johnny Frankenheimer, Sidney Lumet, and writers like Reggie Rose and J.P. Miller and Rod Serling, Patty Chayefsky. And they didn't know how good they were. I had absolutely no interest in film. I figured that if something wasn't live, that it wasn't really acting, you see. It was not that I was naive. I was dumb, is what it was. But when that offer came to test for the picture with Judy, that, at least I was smart enough to realize, was a horse of a different color, because it was Garson Kanin writing, Judy Holliday was going to star, and George Cukor, a great actor's director, directing. So I said, oh, well, now, hey, wait a minute. Out I came to the West Coast, and no Cukor. I don't know, he was off somewhere. Judy was back in New York. And Max Arno, who had brought me out, I said, well, how am I going to do this test? He said, come with me. He says, I want you to meet two young guys down the hall here. And he introduced me to two young writer-directors that Harry Cohn had put in a closet on the second floor. And they were named Blake Edwards and Richard Quine. They were the first two guys that I ever met out here, and I struck up an instant friendship with both of them. I think the relationships with those two guys have been one of the sweeter parts of all the good fortune that I've had all these years out here. And Dick said, I'm going to do your test. I said, terrific. And he must have known what he was doing. I got the part. I went ahead, did my film. All I knew was that John Ford was going to do Mr. Roberts next. That's all I knew. And like every other young actor in the country, I would have given my eye teeth to play Pulver, you know, one of the great parts. Anyhow, I finished the film. One day, I walked onto his set to see what was going on with The Long Gray Line. They were just wrapping it up. Now, I walk on the set, and I'm looking, they're lighting, and I don't see any of the actors yet, and they're looking, and I'm just waiting around and so forth. And one of the old grips with a pair of sneakers and baggy pants and a baseball cap and an eye patch, he was sucking on a handkerchief or something. And he kept looking at me, and he came over, and he's just standing right beside me, staring at me. Finally, I said, hi, what, you know, and so forth. I figured he was a grip from the other picture or something. And he says, are you that kid, the Lemmon that did the thing with Judy? I said, yeah. They tell me you want to play Pulver. I said, well, yeah, how did you? He says, you ought to play Pulver. And I said, well, from your lips to God's ear, you know. And he says, spit in your hand. I said, what? Spit in your hand. I said, why? He says, it's an old custom. Pwee. And he spit in his hand, he stuck it out. I spit in my hand, and I stuck it out. He says, I'm Ford, you're Pulver. And he walked away. Now, that wasn't talent. What I'm getting at is the extraordinary good fortune that some of us get and some of us don't, I think. Yes, you do have to deliver if somebody closes the door, but who the hell opened it? I had some of those doors open at the right time. I want to take a couple of seconds and say something very seriously now. That I guess no matter what business or craft we are in, we obviously want to think it's important. And I sure as hell think that acting is important. I'm not sure that most people, though, really understand what an actor's life is like. I am not an average actor, and I sure know it. I have had every break, every opportunity that anybody could ever want over and over again. But I'm talking now about the average actor who doesn't even make a living. But there is something that I hope all actors will remember during the dark days, which are most of them. there's another side of that coin that makes it very, very worthwhile, I think. If once, twice in your life, an actor can get a part with some kind of depth, he can go beyond entertaining, and he can touch people, and he can move them, and he can make them think, and he can thereby enlighten them. And I think that is one precious gift that is given to very, very few mortals, even once in their life. It is a noble profession, and I am damn proud to be part of it. If I tried to thank or acknowledge even all of the many people who have been so instrumental in my career tonight, I'd be up here forever and boring everybody to death, except the ones I was thanking, of course. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to thank anyone. I'm just going to thank everyone. I made a solemn vow that I would not single out the members of my family and say what I thought about them and what they mean to me. But I will tell you something that is 100% God's honest truth. As much as I love acting and as grateful as I am for my career, which is so vitally important to me, if the whole thing ended tomorrow and there were no more parts, I would be very upset, is what the hell I'd be, not that I think about it. If it did end tomorrow, I honestly feel that I have something that is much, much more important, and that is my family. They have given my life a wonderful purpose and a fulfillment. They have brought me joy and happiness, and they have taught me that love is the most important thing in the world. I adore each and every one of them, and I'm immensely proud of them. There is no possible way I could tell you what this means to me, and all I have to do is start thinking of who else has ever received this award, and it's mind-boggling to me, and there is just no way that I can thank them or you enough. I loved and respected my father very much, and he gave me an awful lot of very good advice. Maybe the best thing that he ever said to me was the last thing before he passed away. He took my hand and he smiled and he said, "Spread a little sunshine." And I am damn well going to keep on trying to do that as long as they'll let me. And to paraphrase Pulver, thank you. This stuff was terrific. Thank you.
When she stood up here and accepted this Life Achievement Award 4 years ago, America's first great film star, Lillian Gish, spoke of an international language of film and of an actor's desire to please the world. Well, tonight's honoree is a man whose life and work have done just that. Thank you, Jack, for all the joy that you've given us and for all that's to come. Good night, everybody.